The Dallas Cowboys tried to warn us about this, so we're going to be going through that and 3 other stories in today's video. So make sure to like this video, and if you want more Dallas Cowboys news content like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hitting that red button down below, and thank you again for BetUS for powering today's video. The first story is that All-Pro wide receiver CeeDee Lamb feels Cowboys played terrible and the offense needs to answer the call. Now the Cowboys home opener couldn't have gone much worse on Sunday, thanks to their 44-19 faceplant against the visiting New Orleans Saints. They vaunted defense got a slice of humble pie stuffed in its face, becoming the 5th team since 2000 to allow its opponent to score a touchdown on each of their first 6 drives to start the game. That will make life hard for any offense. The Cowboys offense stayed within striking distance of the Saints early, trailing 21-13 after the 2023 first team All-Pro CeeDee Lamb's 65-yard catch and run touchdown through double coverage. However, once Dallas wide receiver Jalen Brooks fell down on a slant route, which led to quarterback Dak Prescott's first 2 interceptions on Sunday, the Saints added 2 more touchdowns before halftime, which led to a 35-16 deficit. A 3-score hole is awfully hard to climb out of, and the Cowboys certainly didn't do that on Sunday. It was hard to say that they were pressing, Prescott said post-game. You're trying to play complementary football, and if your defense is struggling to stop a group, you want to do your part and score us downs and come back. We weren't able to score touchdowns, but were able to move the ball up and down the field. I can't say that they were pressing necessarily, going from last week to this week. There were some things that they wanted to get better at. We got better at third downs this week, but now it's in the red zone, and I think we scored some touchdowns. It makes defense feel a little bit better, and it's a wild different feel within the game for both sides of the ball. They were doubling me. I kind of told Dak a double team don't really intimidate me at all. I'm expecting that all year, that I can still win. Great execution by us. We need more of that, Lamb said when discussing his 65-yard receiving touchdown. When it came to zoom out and provide his big picture analysis of Dallas' overall performance, Lamb didn't mince words. New Orleans won the game. We played terrible. We didn't play complementary football. The scoreboard says it all, Lamb said. We just got to execute. This game came down to execution. Who can execute the most? Who can make the most plays? Who could dominate the line of scrimmage and obviously win on the outside? That we didn't do that, and they did. Both teams are pretty solid on third down, with New Orleans converting 5 of its 8 for first downs, while Dallas converted 6 of its 13. The Saints turned 4 of their 5 drives inside the opposing 20 into touchdowns, while the Cowboys failed to reach the end zone on all 3 of such possessions. Prescott missed a play-action throw to running Ezekiel Elliott on a possession in which he was all alone after a blitz. The toss bounced harmlessly at Elliott's feet. That's a pass Prescott wants back. He also threw a credible 4th and 4 throw to rookie undrafted tight end Brevin Spanford, and pass fell incomplete. Prescott takes accountability for that one. Going forward, he may scramble more inside the 20. I just didn't convert in the red zone, Prescott said. I think it's the biggest one. They didn't throw anything else we weren't ready for. They gave us some looks that we were prepared for, maybe not quite through the blitz, bluffed out of a couple, and we were able to still get some first downs. And then we got in the red zone, short arm to throw to Zeke, and hand gets free in my face. Misconnection with CeeDee Lamb, pulled the 4th down, probably could scramble trying to trust in young tight end, wanted to use his body and put it away from him. That's somebody I don't have a lot of reps in, and I put one on me. As I said, probably could have gone into scramble mode, but just a few clue plays out there. As I said, if we get in the end zone, I think we're talking in different games. And damn sure didn't feel of the game. The 31-year-old 3-time Pro Bowl quarterback's second interception of the day was squarely on him as he attempted to squeeze the ball to Lamb with safety Tyrann Mathieu lurking. That's a play that might not happen if the Cowboys defense wasn't in the midst of allowing New Orleans offense of a historical afternoon. Now, great play by him, Prescott said. We got another crossing route right there. He did a good job of covering that and playing through at the same time running and making that play. So credit to him there. That's on me, and I can look for CeeDee Lamb off more as well. Week 3 is almost here, and as we all know, Baltimore Ravens will be facing off against the Dallas Cowboys, and that's why I really do like this bet of a total game for under 49. Now, we're going to be putting $10 on this bet, but guys, don't forget to check out BetUS. They give a 150% bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000 with the code YouTube150. So definitely go check them out. I'm going to be placing this bet for under 49 for the Ravens and Cowboys game. Let's get it, and I got some big money on it. So definitely go check out BetUS. success. The second story is that McCarthy is disappointed after Cowboys lost to the Saints. Only a few days after decimating the Cleveland Browns on the road in the regular season opener, the Dallas Cowboys were victimized in much the same way, though a bit worse, at the hands of Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints to the tune of 44-19 in Arlington. There were plenty of opportunities for the offense to match serve despite an abysmal showing by the defensive unit, but miscues and ultimately penalties took points off the board and forced a flurry of field goals in response to what devoted into 6 touchdowns allowed on the first 6 drives by the Saints. There wasn't much of anything working for the Cowboys, save for the continued excellence and lethality of Brandon Aubrey. We need to be better in this week's preparation, said head coach Mike McCarthy. We weren't quick to the first punch, and I thought they would finish better than we did. So those are 2 biggest constraints when it comes throughout the evaluation process today with the players. We need to learn from it. It was eerily reminiscent of the previous loss at AT&T Stadium when the Green Bay Packers had their way with the Cowboys on Super Wildcard Weekend, dismissing them from the playoffs in the process. It's a long season and plenty of games remaining to prepare what was put on film against the Saints. Yes, but it's also true that 2 weeks in, the Cowboys have now swung wildly between 2 opposite polarities. For his part, McCarthy says the truth about where they are heading into week 3 lies somewhere in the middle. It's never as good as you think it is, and it's never as bad as you think it is now, McCarthy said of his evaluation after the first 2 weeks of the 2024 season. It was not really good versus Saints, but I'm not saying that it was honestly terrible. But I stood here 7 days ago on Monday and said we've got a lot of work to do, having won by 3 scores against Cleveland, and that wasn't lip service. Here we have a lot of work to do. We looked like a young, inexperienced football team at times, and that was my first impression when I first finished watching all 3 phases last night. So then, after going through all the evolve with everybody, we need to be better. It's true that the Cowboys are fielding one of the youngest teams in the entire NFL, but they also have plenty of high caliber veterans in the locker room and on the field as well, who, to McCarthy's own admission, helping to coach the young players up in real time. It's something that's been happening throughout training camp and in week 1 as well, but it appears McCarthy is expecting more of it going forward, and particularly when things aren't going as planned over the course of a contest. Our young guys, they made some mistakes, he said. Unfortunately, at times, they were costly, but that's part of playing young players. This many young players, really, I'm calling on the veterans to help us pull through moments. An equally daunting test is en route to AT&T Stadium by way of Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, and Baltimore Ravens. Desperate to avoid a 0-3 hole to start the season and with a very capable defense in tow. Needing to reset to regain their week 1 mojo without forgetting the lessons of week 2, the Cowboys are now 1-1 and trying to avoid a 2-game losing streak at home, something that has been unheard of recently in Dallas. I'm disappointed like everybody else, said McCarthy. It was our first home game and we had some momentum coming out of week 1. You always want to improve, and at the end of the day, the result is if it's right. It's the competition, and that's what counts. It's the process. We did not improve from week 1 to week 2, and that's the biggest disappointment. The results speak for themselves. McCarthy and his coaching staff are back to work and trying to force the results to say something different next Sunday. So the third story is the Dallas Cowboys' most glaring weakness entering week 3 versus the Ravens. After 2 weeks, the Dallas Cowboys face glaring concerns in key areas on both offense and defense. While it's early on in the season, there's no need for alarm, at least not just yet. But the Dallas Cowboys' first 2 weeks have revealed challenges in both their rushing, offense, and their defense. Now, the offense has struggled to establish a ground game early on, while the defense overall had a standout performance in week 1, but after the most recent week 2, it's still showing vulnerabilities against the run and top tier picks. The Cowboys prepared to host the Baltimore Ravens, who are reeling from a surprising home loss to the Las Vegas Raiders. Notably, the Ravens' strengths directly contrast the Cowboys' weakness, setting the stage for a compelling matchup. Dallas fell to the New Orleans Saints 44-19 in a home loss that certainly left a bad taste in everyone's mouth. Alvin Kamara had his way against the Cowboys' run defense, rushing for 115 yards and scoring 3 touchdowns on 20 carries. This showcased the Cowboys' continuous run defensive struggles as they gave up a total of 190 rushing yards on Sunday. In the first 2 weeks, the Cowboys have allowed 283 rushing yards, ranking 11th in the league. On the other hand, the Cowboys have struggled struggle to generate momentum by running the football. After 2 weeks, the ground game has been a slow start, and Ezekiel Elliott leads the team with just 56 yards and a touchdown on 16 carries, averaging a mere 3.5 yards per attempt. His longest run so far has only been 9 yards. Interestingly, the team's longest rush belongs to wide receiver CeeDee Lamb, who broke off a 12-year run in their Week 1 victory against the Browns. Overall, Dallas have rushed for 170 yards with an average of 3.7 yards per carry through 2 weeks, which ranks them 10th most. As previously noted, the Ravens could be looking at this matchup knowing very well it's an opportunity to dominate the ground game on both ends. Now on top of this, Baltimore, spearheaded by 2-time MVP Lamar Jackson and All-Pro Derrick Henry, enters Week 3 ranked 7th in rushing for a formidable 336 yards with an impressive 5.7 yards per carry. Unsurprisingly, Jackson himself has been a driving force behind their ground game, contributing 167 yards on the ground.